everyone. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Daniel, creator of Sci-Fi Your Leadership. And if you're new here, welcome. I specialize in empowering leaders as they navigate how to best support mental health and well-being in our schools. This week's episode is part 2 of our Steady Minds monthly series. And if you're unfamiliar with that series, it's where I change one thing about either a habit or a lifestyle of mine in hopes of improving my mental health. And I'll go over the results of my 30-day experience through this YouTube video and how I think it did or did not improve my mental health. My hope is that by exploring small changes in our daily routines, that I can help support not only my own mental health journey, but maybe yours as well. Let's get started. Alright, so for the last 30 days, I have been using this journal to keep track of my moods. This all started for me when this year in particular, I noticed that again, during a specific time of year, I felt slightly more depressed than I usually do, and it seems to last for more than a couple weeks or more than a month at a time. And I was really kind of concerned this last time around that I was feeling like depressed again. And so actually this experiment came from my partner, who suggested that it might be a good thing to start noting and keeping track of when I'm feeling more depressed than usual. And we can also get and maybe hopefully by consistently tracking my moods for a long period of time, that I can get a better sense of when my ups and downs in my moods are, or when my mood might fluctuate into more of a depressive season that I'm getting ready to have. So this experiment came from my partner, who I'm very thankful for, and they also helped me find a good format to use for mood tracking. So for me, I chose to use a bullet journal format. And I chose that because I've tried to write consistently in journals for a while, and I just find that I never get in a good routine, or I get lost in talking throughout like a paragraph, and I feel like my train of thought will switch to infrequently. And for my mood tracker, I really just wanted a good, quick way to make note of how I was feeling the majority of that day. That way I could quickly glance at it and see that over a period of 2 weeks or a month, where my moods have been fluctuating. Because I think that's important data to kind of know about yourself. So I used a bullet point format where at the end of each day, I wanted to create a routine that before I go to bed at night, I am listing out small observations that I know that I can keep track of easily and that I should probably be aware of. So at the first bullet, I will put what mood that I feel like I had that day, and it'll be both, low mood, happy mood, normal, so like a baseline, anxiousness, anger, things like that. I created a color code system, so even if I didn't feel like writing everything out that day, if like I have a low mood and the color for low I have is blue, I'll just put a blue dot next to that bullet point. And then also for the bullet points, I will keeping track of my quality of sleep that I am getting. I found to be very helpful, whether or not I exercise for that day. If I have any urges, like urges to drink a lot of caffeine, eat greasy foods, eat a lot of sugar or sweets, so noting what I am craving in particular, because I think that does have a big effect on moods. So noting when those cravings are happening, and whether or not I gave into those cravings is an urge that I will keep track of in one of my bullets. And then other than that, I'll make note of anything, whether it's a situation or a conversation or a phone call, anything that I think might have affected my mood for that day. Because as we all know, relationships are important, but if I'm having a conversation with somebody and it is not a good conversation, or it's something that makes me overly anxious or upset or sad, that's going to throw off my entire day. So it's good to note when those situations are happening so that I can keep track of any patterns or triggers that I'm having from external factors that are going on in my life. And that is kind of what inspired using a journal in order to track my moods. It's something that's easy and convenient and small enough that it can fit in a purse, a bag, a book, backpack, anything, and it's so convenient in size. So that is, all of those factors went into why I chose this format, this size, and how it's been very helpful for me. So jumping into how tracking my moods for the last 30 days consistently has impacted my mental health. It has improved my mental health in 3 distinct ways. Number 1, keeping track of my moods for the last 30 days, as well as my quality of sleep, exercise, urges, and cravings. It has helped me create space to acknowledge and hold my feelings. I have found that it's easy for me to kind of brush off however I'm feeling or to hold it in and not share it with anybody else. So I have found that when trying to communicate with my partner and they first suggested doing a mood tracker, I was a little skeptical in how I could possibly benefit from that. But by consistently tracking my feelings and being able to name what feeling with what mood during a particular day, I felt like it allowed me to be more comfortable in creating space to hold those feelings and be able to sit with them. I feel like oftentimes we don't want to sit in a lot of uncomfortable feelings. It can be hard to sit with all of those things that come up. So one of the major benefits is that by writing it down on paper, I get to acknowledge and sit with the fact that I have had that feeling and that is what I am feeling, and it's true, it's real. Another benefit to tracking my moods for the last 30 days is that I was able to recognize patterns and triggers. So, like I said, I started using the journal to make note of conversations, things I did with people that day, when I felt like I was feeling anxious or overwhelmed, and what I thought was maybe causing those feelings. So it gave me an opportunity to explore why I was in a more anxious mood that day. Why it could have been whether or not I drank too much caffeine, or maybe I had a really intense conversation with somebody. Or it helped me recognize that on days that I exercise, I felt less anxious and depressed. Or if I did feel like I was in a low mood and I still was able to exercise, it didn't feel as low as it would have if I had not exercised. This is a huge benefit for one's mental health, is being able to recognize what patterns you might fall into, and also what things might trigger those thoughts and feelings for you, and as those feelings come up, you're able to recognize better ways that you can cope or manage those stress and feelings of anxiousness or depression, anger, things like that, whatever is coming up for you. And the last major benefit, which is one that I've kind of already touched on, but I think is really important, is that when you're tracking your moods, it helps you communicate those feelings with others. I have found that being able to associate a feeling with a particular situation or a day, a time, an urge, something like that, helps me not only get to know myself more, but then I'm able to communicate what I am experiencing internally with my loved ones. So if I'm having a low day, then I can let those people around me who love me know that I'm not doing so great right now. And so it just helps you be able to put into words what you're feeling. That way you're able to communicate those with those that love you. And so if you're really having a shitty week, it's okay to tell people that, hey, I'm having a bad week, or I'm having a low week, or this week is normal, or I've been really anxious. You should be able to communicate your thoughts and feelings with your loved one so that they can help support you, and vice versa. I feel like being able to communicate your feelings openly makes you not only more empathetic, but allows others to be able to trust you and to seek help from you. And you can also seek help from others. I feel like it creates a transparency around feelings which is something that a lot of people I know don't like to talk about. And I think that keeping track of your moods is a great way to get started, especially if you're not sure or find it difficult to communicate your feelings with others. I know I've been there, and this has really helped me in the last month. I also think another benefit of communicating your feelings with others is that when you're writing them down in a journal, if for some reason someone says, one of those hurtful phrases that I don't know why you would feel depressed, or why would you have any reason to be sad, or why don't, anxiety, everyone's a little anxious today. It really gives you a self-validation to put it in writing for yourself. So if someone says one of those phrases to you, you have your own thoughts and words and feelings written down somewhere, and you know what your experiences are. Someone else won't know what you're truly experiencing and feeling. Even if they think they do, oftentimes people don't really understand what is going on internally in your mind and your thoughts and your feelings and your moods. And so it's a great way to try to use it as a tool to communicate with others, but it also helps you know on a personal level that this is what you're feeling, and this is what you're experiencing. And no one can take your experience away from you. All right, if you'd like to see more educational mental health content for school leadership, please subscribe to join this amazing community here on YouTube. Until next time, happy practicing. Take care.